Welcome to the Shannon Atchison Show, real business talk for real life. I'm Shannon, creative business coach, digital product lover, and your strategy sidekick. I've built a business that fits my life, and now I help other women do the same. No hustle, no fluff, just smart, honest conversations about building a business that works for you. Let's dive in. So I am so excited today to have my friend Wendy Batten on the show, and I'm going to read her professional bio just by way of introduction before we start talking so that everybody can sort of learn who she is. So Wendy Batten is a business coach, speaker, and host of the Creative Shop Talk podcast. Clients call her a possibilitarian, which I totally love. She helps independent shop owners and driven women reimagine what's possible in business and life. With over 25 years of experience as a creative entrepreneur, including running her own successful retail shop, Wendy now supports others turn their visions into reality and do life on purpose through coaching, online programs, and retreats. She lives in a crooked little cottage by the sea in Lunenburg, Nova Scotia, and travels the world to connect with clients. Wendy, thank you so much for joining me on the Shannon Atchison Show. I appreciate having you here, and I love connecting with you.
It's a pleasure to be here. So it was so flattered to be asked to be one of your
thank you so much. I love it.
Yeah.
So let's start with a little throwback. We first met.
It's so funny, isn't it? Yeah.
It is so wild.
Yeah.
At the airport in Atlanta, Georgia, because we were taking a limo together to Haven Conference. I don't know if anybody out there remembers that conference. They actually just ended, I think, this year. Last year was the last year, I feel like.
Oh, I think so, yeah.
Craziness.
Yeah.
Anyways, but total strangers taking a limo together to the hotel, to this conference. And, when you think back to that season, what were you working on then, and what did your business look like then?
Well, so first of all, I was petrified. So, but I think that might sort of describe everything I've done in business every week. So at that particular time, that was 2011, I think.
Wow. Something like that.
Yeah.
It's been 2011,
I think so. And we were on our way to, Haven was a blog conference.
Yep.
So going to a blog conference, you would think you were a blogger and you're very professional. I had no idea what I was doing. I was a wannabe blogger. I had taught myself how to create a blog, how to build a blog, and I had 2 blog posts up. I had no business being in the back of that limo with you. I had and all the people.
I'd only been doing it for a year or 2 at that point too. So.
I feel like I had no business. It was just so, and the backstory, just to back up just a little tiny bit to that, was that my daughter gave me a book, and she gave me the book in 2011. So Haven must have been 2012. And she said, I needed a hobby other than her. So she was right. But we had a very successful business. My husband and I were running a business. I was doing stuff at home. I was doing all the back end admin. Beautiful. We had a beautiful life. I mean, we had a great life. But, she was 16 at the time, and she gave me the Happiness Project, which I have right here. It's really funny because this is my original copy she gave me. Okay. And the Happiness Project was, and she's like, Mom, you're made for more. She actually said that. She actually, I didn't realize this. Anyway, she wrote that inside the book and made me cry the other day. But anyway, so she's like, Mom, you're made for more, and there's more to life, and you need a hobby other than me. And we were DIYing and renovating homes, much like you, Shannon. We were always doing things around our house, and updating, renovating, decorating, tearing walls down, big little things. So
I remember we connected on that because
that's
such in common.
Right. And so I always say, back then, when I think of now and I look back then, we were always in a state of improving our life for our family, not in a keeping up with the Joneses way. That's never been my style, but it's always been about an improvement and upgrading our life. Right. So when she said that to me, and I started my blog, she's like, Mom, share with all the people the things that we're doing around here. So I started a blog. I taught myself WordPress, taught myself blog, fast forward, built this thing called Porch Mercantile. Yeah. Because I was selling furniture off the front of my porch because my friends were coming and asking me, and I was meeting people off Marketplace or whatever they called it back then. And it was a Marketplace back then. But, just random painted things and doing stuff. And so I started a blog. I had 2 blogs up and went to Haven and met you. So what was going on in my life at that time is I needed a hobby other than my daughter, really.
Okay.
And I felt this need to connect with people. And I felt that I was made for more. I didn't feel that. My daughter felt that she was right. There was something missing.
Okay.
And I was very happy. This is where I think there's a disconnect sometimes, especially with women. I just felt like I should be happy enough, or I should be fine with everything that was. But I felt like I had something to give. I didn't know what that was. So I started blogging about, that was my giving. And I went to what I I tell everybody now, when I went to Haven that time, I felt like I was backstage with the rock stars. Like I had no business being backstage. I was like hanging around with all you cool people. It was so cool. You and I and one other person, I think we're the only 3 Canadians in that entire conference. And it was a big conference.
Yeah, I think that year for sure. I think I went
So
2 or 3 times, and that year
yeah, me too.
there was
Yeah.
only a few of us.
Yeah, me too. There was a map up and like where everybody was from, and
Yes.
there was no Canada on the map. And you and I were like, we should put that on there. Anyway,
Way
but
up there.
yeah, and so also at that time I was petrified. And when I told my family I'm going to Haven, or I'm going to go to this blog conference, I can and maybe other people can relate to this when you make big decisions. I can feel the I can't believe I just said that out loud to them. And I can picture them all at the kitchen table. My family were weirdos that ate dinner together every night. And I can picture like everybody just stopping, like mid like what?
Oh
I'm
my
like,
God.
yeah. And I hadn't flown in a decade. I hadn't been anywhere. I went by myself solo to Atlanta. And
Same.
I tell people that was one of the biggest pin drops or mic drop moments of my life, or
Gosh.
pivot moments of my life. And
Yeah.
speaking of pivots, that decision to buy that ticket to go to Haven and
Yeah.
book that ticket and get on that plane, which I almost didn't,
Oh my
and
gosh.
get in that limo, and then we were lost or we couldn't find the terminal.
Yes.
Like that, all those challenges and all those things and the stories in my head that were telling me I didn't belong in that room and in those places. Big
Wow.
moments there. Yeah.
And you did it anyways.
Did it anyways. Did it scared. Yeah.
You did it scared.
Yeah.
Okay, so what led you to open your shop in the first place? Like what did you most love about running it? Because you didn't have the shop then?
No,
So the shop
I
came
didn't want to be a
after.
shopkeeper. I was like, that wasn't part of the plan.
That wasn't part of the plan.
Yeah,
Imagine
so
that.
many things. I know we're always told, and I actually teach this, and I coach, and I work with hundreds of women, and women and men right now. But we should plan ahead and envision our life for 3 to 5 years out and whatever. And I think that's great if you have a business plan. So for business, yes. For life, I think we need to decide more like what is it we want to embrace and how do we want to feel 3 to 5 years, like so not so much the specifics. So at that time I just knew I wanted to follow what was unfolding. I say that all the time. I'm probably going to say it a million times here, but when I went to the conference, I met all the paint people, all the paint brands were there.
Yes.
And then they were the ones I used, and none of them were available in all of Atlantic Canada. Like Montreal was the last place you could buy like Annie Sloan or Miss Mustard Seed Milk Paint, or, and there was no Fusion and all these other paint companies. They did not exist. I actually ended up helping and being part of the Fusion development team, which is bananas when I think about it. But I met all the paint companies. I met all the brands. As this shy little whatever blogger. I mean, I'm shy, but not shy. Like I had conversations. And honestly, Miss Mustard Seed said, the milk paint, she had a milk paint brand at the time. And she said, who I idolized, by the way, I couldn't believe I was having lunch at the same table as Marion Parsons from Miss Mustard Seed. But she said like, oh, you should sell milk paint. And I was like, I don't have a store. I don't know. I'm not going to sell a store. So my store originally started as my teaching people to paint. And I was in this old little workshop in my friend's backyard next to her yoga studio in her garage. That's where my studio and shop was. I had no business plan. I had no other than I'm going to open a little studio. I called it Front Porch Mercantile. We moved it off the porch. I actually wrote like the whole business, not the business idea, but like what that could look like and how it would fit into our life, sitting at the barn where my daughter used to ride. I still have the notebooks where I was like, well, what could that look like? And what would my logo? Honestly, I was more like, wow, what could the logo be? How could I take this
The
blog?
creative.
How could I make this blog be live and teach people to paint
Right.
furniture and sell this paint that Marion said I should paint? So I ended up selling milk paint, and
Okay.
I was going to sell the Annie Sloan paint. They also wanted me to do it, but at the exact same time, I made my decision to open this little studio. Somebody else did as well in my town. So
Okay.
she took Annie Sloan, I took Miss Mustard Milk
Okay.
Paint. We had a wonderful relationship. And I started teaching people to paint kind of on the fly and just selling paint.
Wow.
DIYing in a studio, really. It was a great joy. Yeah. And
Yeah,
blogging.
yeah.
I was still blogging. Yeah.
I love how you just sort of just went with what sort of came to you and felt like it was the next right step rather than, I mean, like you said, a big business plan is awesome, especially, if you need financing or whatever, but like the next right step for where you were at, I love that because I feel like I fully agree with that and think that that's like the best way to go, especially as a creative person, because sometimes you don't know 3, 5 years down the road, what's going to be the best thing for where you're at. I love that. So closing the shop then was a big shift. So can you sort of walk us through that decision? What made you realize then that it was time to change that? And you didn't close it, you sold it, yes? Am
Yeah,
I wrong in that?
so there was quite a few years between then and there.
Okay.
So the
Yeah.
evolution of the shop we ended up becoming a full-fledged shop. And I will say, if a client comes to me now and says, I'm just going to like open this little shop and start selling paint and do a studio, I would say you're absolutely bananas.
Right.
You got to have a bit of a plan. I was not fully in. However, I did not I had a number that I decided to invest. We owned another business. I wasn't new to business.
Right.
And I also had owned a coffee shop for years.
Okay.
So prior to that. So
Okay.
I had a bit of business plan, but not in retail. So that was like a whole different game. So we expanded the retail business. I was super busy. The studio did really well. The painting workshops. Then we expanded the inventory, and it just grew and grew and grew and grew. I had a staff. I had great success with my retail business, but only after I started investing in learning about retail.
Okay.
not
Yeah.
and
Fair.
not without I want to say a breakdown during that period of time. My daughter
Okay.
moved to New Zealand
Mm-hmm.
at 19. She was very young, so she moved to
Yeah.
New Zealand, and that was probably another. When I say like when I went to Haven, it was a big pivot. When she went to New Zealand, and I realized my store was so busy that I couldn't get off the treadmill enough to go and spend 3 weeks with her before she left, which it was a very short window. She went on vacation, and then when she came back, she said, I got a job, I'm going to go. And I met a boy. So,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
we were really close. All of that to say that the store was really busy and I didn't have much together. Sorry, I shouldn't say I didn't have it all together. I was burning myself out. And when I realized that, I couldn't step off the treadmill to stop to spend time with her. I did. I ended up just like spending time with her, but I was on the floor crying at some points because it was bad. And I say that because everybody romanticizes business and all the ebb and flows, but it was a hard time.
Yeah.
So after she left, I realized I needed to make some changes here. So I invested in coaching. I invested in learning. I mean, I'd always been a learner. Obviously, I did all these things,
Yeah.
but
You have
I
to.
really honed down into why was my shop so busy and I wasn't making a ton of money, but it was
Right.
taking all my time. So fat
Fair.
story thin, I learned all of those things. I invested a lot into education and coaching and piecing together all these things. And then everybody started asking me, my friends, my painty friends, all the people running paint stores, all my people that
Right.
I kind of knew through, I'm a very big community minded person, started asking me how. Miss Mustard Seed started asking me if I would be. So I started working for her while I was running my
Okay.
shop.
Oh,
I
jeez.
was the community. I don't know. I helped her. I was her second, her number two, if you will.
Right.
So I was the link between the brand and the all the paint retailers.
Okay.
Loved that so much. Like, and so I was doing like weekly trainings for the milk paint brands. I started working for the other company called Fusion, doing that for them as well too. I worked for another paint company. I ended up working for all these brands, like the Fat
Yeah.
Paint Company, which was a chalk paint
Right. Yeah.
company. I was their lead educator. They used to fly me out to Vancouver. Like, wonderful, cool things were happening.
Yeah.
These cool things are
Yeah.
happening. I had a staff running my store. So I sold the store because I had to move. The location wasn't holding up. It was falling down. Literally, it was an old barn.
Oh,
And
okay.
so I had to make a move. And at the time, my best friend said, surprisingly, she lived in Ontario, and I lived in New Brunswick at the time. And I had no idea. And she said, Wendy, I would love to take over your shop and move back home, because her
Oh,
mom lived in New
wow.
Brunswick. And I was like, what? Like, so
Right.
she took over, and I was doing too much. I loved the coaching side, but I loved my
Yeah.
store. And all this to say that was a huge pivot, but everything happens, like, for a reason, as you said. And I stepped away. I franchised the business. She took over. She moved it into the city, and from the country where it was. And I actually opened a secondary workshop
Okay.
in my little town where I live now, where I had my cottage. I live in a little town called Lunenburg, New Brunswick. It's a historic UNESCO Historic World Heritage Site.
Wow.
I opened a studio here, sort of like
Okay.
the second location. So she ran the big one.
Okay.
I opened a little studio here so I could do my studio stuff here and coach from here. So
Okay.
we actually physically made a huge move.
You did. Yeah. You
Yeah,
sold
huge.
like the forever big family home and moved into
Yeah,
the cottage,
yeah, we
right?
did. We made a huge pivot. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And was
People
that
still, yeah.
related to all the business
Yeah.
stuff? Was
Yeah.
that was
It
just
all it all happened again. My husband and I both running separate businesses in Moncton. And here's my advice to entrepreneurs, like,
Mhm.
just because we can doesn't mean we should.
Yes,
And we can
100%.
do all the things. I am an idea generator, and I'm really good at a lot of things. And it's hard for me to say that, but I am. I can see it. Like,
Yeah.
yeah. So I was like coaching, I was working for these brands, I was running my retail business, I was running my studio in two locations. And then, so then when Lisa took over one, and it's still running, by the way, we've rebranded, I kept my own brand, at some, like, we have a beautiful friendship now and relationship. She has it, rebranded under a different name, but it's still sort of the
Okay.
same premise of what we built at the beginning. My husband, um, my husband and I both live with our shoulders up to our ears. So that dream,
Okay.
we used to live like, and
Okay.
I don't know if you're sharing this video or not, but like my shoulders
Yeah.
were up to my ears, so many balls in the air.
Mhm.
And that lifestyle that I said, you're describing what you want in 3 to 5 years, or what you want. We were living in a beautiful home. We were running beautiful businesses. We had lots of cool people around us. On paper, everything was awesome.
Mm.
On paper,
Fair.
everything was awesome.
Okay.
But internally, my husband and I were both like, what are we doing? Like, is this the life we want to build? So every time
Right.
we would come down to this little cottage, which we live in now, it's a tiny little, crazy little cottage. Like, it's imperfect in every way, but it overlooks the ocean. And we used to Airbnb it. And every time we would come down here, our shoulders would go down for a minute, and we were like, oh, if we could just stay here. But oh my gosh, that's crazy, right? That's a crazy dream. That's a crazy thing. Um, and I would come down, I would teach, and I would paint while I was down here, and we'd do workshops and I was still working here. But
Yeah.
anyway, so we made a decision, a crazy decision. And I say to my clients, and I say to myself, comes from my husband, and I do this all the time. We started doing what we call like epic life planning, vision storming our life.
Okay.
And like, what could that look like? That's the question. What could that look like if we got all bold and crazy,
Right.
and what if we sold everything and walked away and lived in this little crazy cottage? We can't do that, so we
Yeah.
ended up running his business from here. We sold everything we owned. I literally sold pictures off the walls in my house. So Lisa
Wow.
had taken over the Moncton location. I was coaching full time at the time and running down here. I'm like, well, I can do that from here. I'm doing it right now.
Right.
I'm on
Right.
my computer right now. I'm coaching from here.
Yeah.
So pivots are hard. and they're scary. And I'm again making it sound like, we just made a decision and did it.
No.
And
Yeah.
we left family, we left friends, and we left the house we loved. I mean, I loved my house. I still love my
Yeah.
house. I still miss it.
That's a tough one. Yeah. 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 That's a tough one. It's true. We're so
But
hardwired to love that.
we were like, what is it that we're like, what is the lifestyle we're trying to build? What is the life
Mm-hmm.
we want? And we wanted our shoulders down. I was honestly afraid. My
Mm.
husband, his business was very busy. We were in a commercial cleaning business, which is not an easy gig.
Okay. Yeah, I
And
guess not.
yeah, and we
Yeah.
were like,
Yeah.
so now I'm laughing because my husband currently spends his days like he's my number two. So I used to be his number two for a while with
Right.
his business, and now he's my number two. He does all the back end stuff of our business, but he's out
Yeah.
kayaking right now.
Aw.
It's a Wednesday morning at 11 o'clock, and he's out
Yeah.
kayaking, and his shoulders are down, and my shoulders are
Aw.
down. So we're both
Yeah.
doing things we love now,
Yeah.
but it doesn't come without price and trade off. Like there's
Right.
trade offs in all these pivots. But that's how I ended up. So that's how we sold the store. So it's not linear. And I know
No,
people like to think, okay, you had the store and then you sold it, and then it's not like
it overlapped a lot.
entrepreneurship overlaps.
Yeah.
Everything you've done in your business
Yeah.
overlaps. It all overlaps.
Yeah.
There's also still building one business maybe while you're trying to start another one. Like,
Yep.
there's all these like you still,
Yeah. Because
because we
it's
still
not,
need the balls need to keep rolling, right?
they do. Yeah. Yeah. It's not
So
linear.
yeah,
You're right.
so the retail store was running while I was doing coaching, but now and even now it's still evolving, right? Things still evolve. But
Yeah.
so sold the store, but a franchise first, sold it, eventually sold it, and now my studio during I didn't really I am coaching mostly full time, and my studio space that I had here in Lunenburg
Yeah.
and I ended up mostly using it for coaching, like conferences and retreats. That's where I ended
Oh,
up. Like I
okay.
realized I wasn't doing as much painting and stuff as I was doing like coaching. So now I just rent a space. I gave up my space right
Okay.
before COVID, thank goodness. But
Oh, goodness. Yes.
yeah,
Excellent
yeah,
providence there.
lots of twists and turns, right? So
Yeah. So your business, it obviously looks very different now, your
mhm,
business, than it
mhm,
did. So I think we kind of sort of answered this, but like the transition from shop owner to educator mentor, did
mhm.
you plan it, or it sort of seemed to unfold more naturally, did it not?
It did. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would say again, as I said, people started asking me.
Yeah.
And I think, advice to people listening when people are asking you, um, and it's like, to me, it was not so simple. It wasn't simple getting help and putting all
Right.
the pieces together, but it came naturally. Maybe that's
Yeah.
the word.
Yeah.
So the identity I was giving myself was a shop owner.
Mm.
And then that side thing that was no big deal was helping people untangle their business bits, if you will.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
and once I figured it out and I saw how it all worked, and I was like, I get it now. And I still see it. When I go back and I look through, like I think I'm meant to be a leader, and that
Yeah.
again took a long time for me to say that out loud. But like a
Yeah.
coach actually said that to me. He's like, "Well, Wendy, you've been doing in leadership roles your whole life," and that's
Yeah.
true.
Yeah.
And I've also been around business my whole life, and local business. My parents were involved with retail, and so I guess all the pieces did come naturally. I just had never really seen the cover of
Mhm.
the puzzle cover. You know what I mean? I had all the
Yes.
pieces, and I was like, "Oh, that's what it's supposed to look like, right?"
Yes.
So it didn't,
Yes.
so when everybody was asking me for help, and then so I just like one literally the first coaching thing I ever did, other than with the brands, because I was just showing up on Facebook in all the brands groups all the time.
Right.
But my first paid coaching gig, if you will, was charging like $99 to come to a holiday boot camp. Like I called it a holiday boot camp.
Okay.
It was 2017, and I had all these coaching, and I felt guilty asking people, like,
Uh-huh.
but I
Yeah.
was like, okay, well, I gotta I gotta make income from this.
Mm-hmm.
And I had 25 retailers join me on Zoom, and we did like 6 or 7 weeks of like talking about holiday boot camp. I don't even remember how I did it, 6 or 7 parts. And then when it was over, they were all like, okay, now what? Now what? And I was like, I don't know. Like, what do you mean now what? And they're like, well, we want to keep going. So I started a membership, and that
Yeah.
membership still goes. At first, it was just for painters. Then it was for shopkeepers, small shopkeepers. I had creatives from all over the world asking to join. And then, and now I have a mastermind group in there, and it just sort of evolves from there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you grew from what people asked for in that niche.
And what felt easy, and again, it's not
Mm,
easy. There's still tension and all the mind stuff, and
yeah,
we've talked about this, but it's not like, oh, I'm just going to do this and it happens. It was like, can I, should
right,
I, what could that look like, right? And do I
right.
have it in me? And what if nobody comes? What if like they think I'm
Yes, always.
stupid? What if I can't do it? I mean, all that. I mean, oh my gosh, that is like that person sits on my shoulder every day.
Hmm.
So it's hard and it's not without, but if something feels easy and light to you
Right.
and you have a
Like you
gift
can
to share,
breathe thinking
yeah,
about
and
it.
you have a
Yeah.
gift to share, like you have such a gift to
Yeah.
share with
Thank you.
people. And I've actually needed people like my coaches. I've need coaches behind me
Yeah.
saying like, well, why wouldn't you? And I was like, I don't know. Why would
I think sometimes we just don't see the roles we're in or the strengths that we have, right? We just do because it's there. And so we don't consciously identify that. And we need coaches and other people to say,
Yeah.
hey, you're really good at this.
Yeah.
You should do this. Now, sometimes that's wrong, but most of the time you're just not seeing it and you need someone else to kind of not pull it out of you even because you're already doing it or whatever, being it, but you need someone to help identify that in you so you consciously go,
Mhm.
oh yes, I'm good at that, I can
Yeah.
do that, right? Like I think that's why coaches and things like that are so important.
Yeah.
That
And
yeah.
and I think we have to be I have, like I would not be where I am without coaching,
Yeah.
for sure. Which was also scary. That was another scary thing. Hiring my first coach and investing in coaching was like, who am I to be like, and when I go back and I look at my first coaching thing, like, I was taking it out of like our family income. Like
Mhm.
basically I laugh when people say, well, you can write it off. And I'm like, well, anything that doesn't go to the business is like grocery money, right?
Yeah.
Like it's
Yeah.
like it's like so I'm taking it out of our vacation or grocery money or
Yeah.
whatever. But life, it's and I say this with like all due clarity now, which I didn't always have.
Mm.
Everything's a trade-off. So where we spend our time, where we spend our money shows me my values. So
Mhm.
we're very aware now and intentional. And I tell people that's what I teach now. I teach people intentionality and life on purpose, so life aligned and life on purpose,
Mhm.
because everything we do has to be on purpose. So investing in coaching, not spending, is how I look
Yeah.
at it now. It's like
Yeah.
I'm investing in something that's going to make me better, and so I can go out and pour into the world. And I've never not had a coach. Like I actually like get
Okay.
anxious thinking about it. Like I've never not had somebody else to lean in because they lean into me and then
Right.
I lean into my people and then
Right.
they lean into their clients, to their families, to their communities. Like it's it's not a
Yeah.
solo gig, right? So,
No,
yeah.
that's true. So true.
Mhm.
Such good insight. So, um, I think we already talked about this. The hardest part about the pivot seasons was letting go of the old model, figuring out the next step, sort of rebuilding your audience. So when you sort of pivoted, what did you
Mhm.
find? You said it was easy, but also it was not.
Mhm.
So what did you find sort of the hardest part in those messy middle sort of seasons? Just because I think we get this idea that even if we're meant to do something, it'll come super easy and it will be
Mhm.
neat and tidy and clean and all wrapped up in a bow
Mhm.
and but it's messy sometimes.
Yeah, I liken it to when I'm renovating a house because we've done that so many times. We've had like 7 houses, like we've renovated.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
like you think it's like you have this idea in your head, maybe. And sometimes I have to let go of those visions. Either that's
Mm.
not for me, like, or like I really want that brick wall you have behind you, but like I can't put a brick wall
It's a
on
big
this
panel.
perfect cottage. Like, I mean, there's like, anyway, it's just like there's like
Yeah, fair.
wood holding up things so that they don't all fall
Oh
forward here. Like, it's really funny. But
yeah.
I think it's when you're thinking of a pivot or when you're thinking of a new direction. And I will tell you, I don't actually have, except for getting on a plane and going to Haven, I don't have a lot of moments that are "Er," like, and moving here.
Right.
I guess those two ones when we moved here, like literally the day because we already owned this, everything's always been
Mm.
messy. It's always been messy. Like everything's sort of been happening at the same time. Like there's been like bits and pieces. And I don't actually know of a period in my life, in my business life, even with my husband's business, when I had my coffee shop, like before when I had a coffee shop,
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever had a period where I could say this is all neat and tidy. Like it's,
Right.
and it's all exactly what I want to do and everything's going perfectly. Like I just don't. And that's
Yeah.
entrepreneurial life. I mean, you know
It
that,
is.
right?
Right.
So it's just sort of always, and I always talk about dodgeballs, and dodgeballs are always coming out. And I like it's easier than saying dips and bad things, right? Like dodgeball, there's always
Yes.
like,
Fair.
like there's COVID and there's, whatever else happens, and there's economic stress and there's
Yes.
mindset. And then there's also things happening in your family, right? Like
Hmm.
a lot of people don't talk about this, but what's happening in our lives, like health and parents and literally I feel like I'm 57 and I feel like I'm in this like messy middle of life, but then I realized every season has a messy like every
Yes.
season of life.
True.
Like when I was a busy mom, there was like that messy, like, well, when my kids are gone, well, when my kid was gone, it was like, oh, then there was this empty nest messiness, and then
Yes.
there was
Yeah.
like, now I've been an empty nester for a long time, and I'm
Yeah.
an entrepreneur, and we've moved, and we're in this, and now we're still in this messy thing of life where I have
Hmm.
parents that are older and
Yeah.
unwell, and adult children and grandchildren now, and I'm not worried about them. I don't mean it that way, but like you're
No,
still
but yeah, yeah,
invested
yeah.
in, so there's
Yeah.
this like tension all the time. And I've realized that, there's no clean, perfect time. And there's not these like lines usually where there's like, oh, okay, we're going to do this now. It's like
Right.
it's all kind of coming at you, which
Right.
maybe sounds like, for those that are thinking of pivots or those thinking of change, it's just embrace it. Like you have to just embrace it.
It's
So,
true.
so,
It's the reality of it, right? Like I'm saying pivot, but at the same time I know it all overlaps still, right? Like
all
there's
of it.
still overlap. There's still,
Mhm.
like you said, family concerns. My kids are grown, but they all live at home still. Like
Right.
so there are, and my parents, yeah, one of them's not well. Like there are things in life and there's no clean, this is what we're doing now,
Yeah.
let's go, right?
Yeah.
So pivot, yes, but yeah, it's still always overlaps with other things
Yeah.
for sure.
And I think it's also really important to remember, and I know you've done this and I know I've done this, and I think it's how we are showing up for whatever's next, or whatever, like, whatever we're or whatever we're doing, nothing good happens without enthusiasm and energy.
Yeah.
So loving ourselves enough to have enthusiasm and energy, even in the stupid stuff, like even in the messy stuff, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Like our new attitude is almost expecting it, and I don't mean this from a place of lack or,
Mm,
oh, here we go again. You can't come with that energy. You have to
right.
be like, what's possible for me? And that's why I love to think in possibilities. I'm like, okay, well, what's possible through this crappy part?
Right.
And how are we going to show up? Like, how are we going to show up through this? We're going to either like go down the road of pity party, or
Mm,
and not make decisions, and that's where a lot of dreams die. Like I
yes.
think we're just like, oh, it would never work, or all
Hmm.
that negative stuff. So if you have a pivot in mind, or a change, or something that you're just wanting to do, I mean, you have to think about all the opportunities and possibilities, right? And again, like I said, I love to call myself a possibilitarian. So
Yes, I love
actually, I
that.
don't. My clients, I've
I
had
love
clients
that.
tell me that, and I was like, what in the world? Like, that is the weirdest word. However, I do say think in possibilities all the time. Like, what's possible through this, on the other side of this thing?
Right.
Really good stuff. Like, there's
Yeah.
like, even through hard things, there's really good stuff on the other
Right.
end, right? So, yeah.
Possibilities.
I
Yeah.
don't, it's a long
Couldn't
answer.
agree
I
more.
give really long, hard
No,
answers,
that's
don't
okay.
I?
It's great. There's gold in these answers. I love it. No, it's so good.
Yeah.
It's true though, because there are all the things that could go wrong or could be bad,
Mhm.
but there's all the possibilities, like you said, or the hope in what could be something really great.
Mhm.
Like, and I think that's the only thing sort of that, I mean, I've been online doing stuff for 15 years. Like, I think that's
Mhm.
the only thing through all the different things and, that keeps me going and building and growing and adding, like,
Yeah.
it's the hope and the possibility in things for sure.
Always, right? And I mean,
Yeah.
and like I think the definition of, I don't have this written down, so I'm sure somebody will correct me. But I
That's
think
okay.
like
Don't worry about
people
it.
joke, and they not the joke, but I recently read that the definition of like procrastination on your dreams or on taking that next step or whatever it is that you're trying to have it all figured out, and like you want to know exactly what the perfect outcome is, maybe, and that sort of
Right.
holds you back. But you're never going to know that, especially if you're
No.
self-employed. Like,
No.
and for me, I always say like there's really cool magical things that I couldn't have imagined. When I went to Haven and we were in the back of that limo, my
Yeah.
hope and dream, my biggest hope for that conference was that I was going to learn how to be a better blogger. That was
Yeah.
like, wow,
Yeah.
I'm going to learn how to be a better blogger. Well, what actually happened when I go back to that and I look at that is I met all of you wonderful people, and
Right.
relationships are rocket fuel. So and and I started talking to Marion, and Marion said, oh, you should get pain, and like conversations, like following like this thread, right? And then I had a
Yeah.
store, like, and then
Right.
so
Yeah.
like we can't even envision, like I didn't go there saying like I hope I meet somebody who can help me make a store, and then I'm going to get
Right.
really good at that, and then I'm going to become a coach, and someday I'm going to coach with people all over the world.
Right.
Like I had a conference here in my little tiny town of Lunenburg, Nova Scotia last year, and I had people fly in. My clients flew in from like Scotland, all over North America, and from New
Wild.
Zealand.
Yeah.
What in the actual heck is that? Like how does
True.
one's brain imagine that?
Yeah.
I still can't. I'm still
Yeah.
like, they did what? Like,
Yeah.
why did they do that for me? You
Yes.
you cannot you cannot dream big enough. Like you
Right.
can't even imagine. So you have to just keep moving forward, like, and making
It's true.
forward momentums towards your dreams.
It's so true.
Yeah,
That's so
I
true.
get very
Yeah.
excited when this stuff.
No,
So
that's awesome. That's so good. So you're still creating,
yeah.
obviously, but so what do you love about the work that you do now? And, what parts of your personality or creativity are you like leaning into now more so than you did before, maybe?
I think I'm getting braver. I think I've always been like hesitant. Like I just said, I mean, everybody came here last year and I'm still like, what the heck? But I think I'm trying to like lean into a little bit more of I'm trying to own it. I don't know. I hate saying that, but I'm trying to like,
No,
yeah,
yeah.
I'm like, okay, like let's just, and I think that's an age thing because time is collapsing, and like if I want to like
Yeah.
do, so I have like now I do have like these kind of really cool big dreams, and
Yeah. I love
I'm
that.
57, and I have zero desire to slow down or stop. So I love watching, and what I've realized, I've been doing a lot of work on this lately. I love watching the ripple effect of what
Mm.
happens when I am able to help, like something that's super easy for me to see about my clients. So I work with retailers. I work with and I work with cool retailers doing cool things in cool towns. And
Yeah.
so I have made myself available to be like, we've been hosting our mastermind groups in their towns, and I've been traveling more. I was in New Zealand, meeting some of my clients in New Zealand this winter, and going into their town and then seeing how their businesses affect like the whole town. It's not
Yes.
just like we're not living in silos, right? We're not just living
Right.
in our own little world. And I think the world needs more like joy and more community and more gathering and more in-person anything, right? So
Right.
in-person shopping, in person. So I love that. Like I see that ripple, and I see how their businesses are thriving and how I'm able to help do that. Like,
Yeah.
so I'm owning that, and I love it, and I love seeing that.
Yes.
So that lights me up. And then the other side of my business right now is we are reviving our blog, which is really funny. I say that's really funny, but it's come from people saying like my blog still gets tons of hits, but like I'm still
That's
like haven't
awesome.
done anything on it years. My
Yeah.
husband's a photographer. We live in a very beautiful spot. We've had people ask us if we could just share more about how do we do this trade-off thing? How do we run our lives? How do people in their 50s, and I always say 50s, my husband's in his 60s, but how do people in this next chapter live an extraordinary life?
Right. Yeah.
And I do live an extraordinary life, but I'm not like fancy, or we don't live rich, or I guess we
Right.
live rich if in depending on your terms of rich, right? So
Well, it's different for
again,
everyone.
we're traveling, and so we're going to share a little bit more on that. And
That's
so I work
awesome.
with a lot of, I have coaching on that side of my life as well too. So I've been working with a lot of, and it started off just friends and women that I know, but now I have a program on my lifestyle side that is helping women step into that whatever's
I
next
thought
for
I
them.
saw
So
something about that.
yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah, and it like
Awesome.
so yeah, I've been running it for a few months now, and we're just
Okay.
launching again. But um,
Awesome.
it's just fun for me, and why that lights me up is because I see the potential in so many people, and like I said to you, I mean, just love what you're doing here, and how you're sharing your experiences and your joy, and you're able to lift people up and
So
do that too.
exciting.
So yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. Okay, so are there things that you tried in the last few years? So you talked about like everything, the
Mhm.
store just grew and the coaching grew. Are there things that you tried that didn't work, that flopped?
Mhm.
And if there
Oh,
was, what did you learn sort of from that?
I feel like I should get like a rollout, like a paper here, and make a list.
Always behind the scenes, right? There's
Yeah.
always, yeah, the stuff
So
that didn't work.
all kinds of things don't work.
Okay.
So I think I'm trying to think of specific things, but I've had launches that have like completely
Mm,
crickets. And by launches, for those who aren't familiar with launches, that just means like I'm putting myself out there to share a little bit more about my thing, right?
right.
So and generally what I learn about launches, or what I've learned about my failures, because I always do a debrief. Some
Do
people
you?
call them
Okay.
like postmortems, and I'm like,
Oh
no, I
gosh.
don't like that at all.
Nobody
So
died. It just
we call it a
didn't go well.
debrief.
Okay.
So I have a small team. I have a few people that work for me,
Okay.
um, and that part I love as well too. And I'm learning.
Mm,
I'm learning, and that's actually probably one of the failures I've had over the years. Not so
okay.
much the launch. I mean, launches have failed, and other things have failed. But where I have failed a lot is in letting things go,
Mm,
and even though I teach that, which is really funny.
yeah.
Um, do as I say, not as I do very well.
Yes, sometimes as teachers
So
are good at that.
yeah,
We can tell
so
you to do it, but we
yeah,
don't
I've
do it
had a
so well
really hard
ourselves.
time. My husband works with me, and he said to me one day, he's like, "Why won't you let me do that? Do you think I'm stupid?" And I was like, and
Mm,
he's like, "You're
ouch.
making me feel." I know, right?
Yeah.
And he said,
Yeah.
"You're probably making our other team members feel," and I'm gonna cry when I think
Oh
about it, because I'm like,
man.
well, no,
Mm,
I just don't. Anyway, so
yeah.
that has been a big, not failure, but that has been something that
Learning.
I've worked really hard on.
Yeah.
And it's much better. But the other thing is these failures, these debriefs that we do, when we really dig into the honesty, like, okay, why didn't retailers join my group last week or last month, or when we did
Mm,
a thing? So when I pull that apart, it's easy to say, well, they just don't want it, and I'm going to move on to something else.
mm,
But when I really dig down into it, and I never used to be a data girl, but that's what drives business. And so you have to tell yourself, you have to know the math and the data and the
mhm.
financials. And I teach that a lot now, and I hate teaching it because nobody wants to learn it, but that's
I
what we
know.
have to know.
True.
And when I look at it, I realize, well, what didn't I do? Or like, how did I contribute to the failure of this? And
Right.
people don't like to admit that, but it's like, oh, you know what? I didn't go online enough, or I didn't show up, or
Mm,
people didn't get, it wasn't in front of enough people. Like, there's
right.
always a reason. It's not,
Right, right.
and sometimes it's just like, you know what? I never really asked anybody if they wanted that thing.
Yes. Yeah.
And they
Yeah.
don't want it. So,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
so
Yeah.
yeah,
Fair.
lots of failures, and failures are
Yeah.
inevitable. And I take them personally. I'm going to be honest. Again, a good coach would say, you just have to like learn from them and move on. And we don't
Mm,
fail, we learn. And that is all true, but it still hits for a minute. So I always tell
yeah.
everybody, take a pity party moment. Like, it's okay. It's okay.
Yeah.
We have to honor our feelings, and we can be
Yeah.
disappointed. We can be sad. And then we have to like regroup and then move on, right? So
Right.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's literally how I do it now. I
True.
process it all. I have my pity party.
Yeah.
I feel sorry for myself for a
No,
little
I
bit.
love that
And then
because yeah, that it's as a feely emotional person or sensitive person, the advice to just let it go. It's like, no, but that did feel awful for, that time. So I love that you acknowledge that and then move on
Mhm.
from there for sure.
Yeah.
Um, so we talked a little bit about success and how what your definition of that sort of looks like for how you live your life, but has your definition of success changed from when you started to now, or has it always sort of been the shoulders down, good
Absolutely has
life?
changed.
Okay.
Again, so we redo our We call it our vision. We vision storm our life every year. So John and I
Okay.
do it every year. This year we actually did it in December. We do it every December. So I actually literally have a program that I run. I run through. John and I, like, my husband thinks I'm bananas. He's not into this until I make him be into it. Until I tell him he's into it. No, he likes it now. So we actually used to go away. We used
Okay.
to go away for a couple of days. I'm gonna backtrack. In 2020, during COVID at Christmas when we couldn't go anywhere, and it was really hard and sad for me,
Mm.
for a lot of us, right? We actually
Yeah.
went to a local resort, and I'm like, let's just like vision storm what we want. And I came up with some questions. I came up with a program. We love to look at life pillars, like the wheel of life. Like, where do we want to be financially? Like, how much is
Mm.
enough, or how much is too, like, what are we doing with our money? Like, why? What are we doing? What do we want to do, be, and have an experience? That's what we come down to every year. So we do that every November, December now, and we both love it. And we both do it separately, and then we come together and do it.
Okay.
It's a really
Okay.
big part of our life now. And
Okay.
I taught my kids do it. My adult children
Oh
do
my
it now.
gosh,
My
that's
sister does
awesome.
it. Like, my friends and my clients do it. Like, so I have a
That's
little
awesome.
program that I give to them, and now I've got it like a little package thing. It's just literally like some questions and me explaining it. That's it.
That's
We
awesome.
don't do fancy here, but
Yeah.
so I have a lot of clients that go away for weekends and do it. I have with their spouse, with their family. I have people that have done it with their kids. And I'm very proud of that because it helps us make decisions. So yes, ours has changed. We did one in December this year and sort of mapped out 2025, and then we always kind of map out into 2026. And map out, I mean, like, big rocks. Like, what do
Okay.
we want to do, be, have experience? Like, there's literally only so much money in a pot, and I don't care who you
Hmm.
are, and I don't care who you are. Like, we all only have so much
Yeah.
money. And what do we value? If we want to go in debt to do some things, cool. Let's just acknowledge that and we're going to do it. Or we don't want to be in debt, so we're going to have to not do things. That's the
Right.
choices usually, right?
Right.
So,
That's you've got the choices. Those are the
yeah,
yeah.
like, there's
Yeah.
nobody has an unlimited amount of time and
Yeah.
nobody has an unlimited amount of money.
Yeah.
So 2025, we had all mapped out. And then we went to New Zealand for 6 weeks, which was a unbelievable blessing to us. Like, my daughter
Hmm.
lives in New Zealand. That's where she still is. She's 28 now.
Yeah.
And she lives there, and we got to spend 6 weeks together traveling New Zealand. It was
Awesome.
a trip of a lifetime, except we want to do it again.
Yeah,
So
of course.
we're going to do it again next year. So
That's
our
awesome.
sort of mindset shifts, right? So when you ask me, like, do you have the same goals, values, and whatever? It's like, no, because our experiences shift. Our
Hmm.
experience shifted, our mindset shifted, our view of the world shifted. The things that are happening in this world right now help,
Yeah.
like, like,
It does change things. Yeah.
yeah, you're like,
Yeah.
we had some big plans for travel into certain areas, certain places that we won't travel to now, or we're hesitant about.
Right.
So when we came back from New Zealand, so in March, we did it again. And
Okay.
we did a whole new, like, we did it again. So we did our vision storming exercise again.
Mm.
And so, yeah, it has changed.
Okay.
I don't think your core values change, but your
No.
worldview changes.
Yeah.
What you want to do, be, have, or experience
Hmm.
changes. I
Hmm.
think, like, overall, yes, we want to be, healthy, happy, and whatever. But what does that look like?
Right. And
So,
what does
yeah.
that look like for each of you and then you guys together? Like that, I imagine that changes over time. Yeah, for sure.
It has 100% changed. Death of family. John's parents passed away over the last couple of years.
Yes. Yes.
Age. My
Yes.
husband's 62, and when he turned 60, he was like, oh, oh, like,
Yeah.
that was weird for him, right? We're
Yeah.
both a lot healthier now than we were a couple of years
That's
ago.
good.
So our values on, I don't want to say our values on things, but our, like, lifestyle, are
Hmm.
we're much more. He's always been active, but I am a much more active lifestyle person now.
Yeah.
Like, I want to, like, go to New Zealand next year, and I haven't said this out loud to anybody, but I'm hoping to do a retreat in New Zealand next year with women,
Yeah.
and I want it to be like an active lifestyle, like either biking or
Okay.
hiking in New Zealand, and business, right? Like, we'll do like
Okay.
hiking, biking, and business,
Yeah.
but,
Yeah.
like, in a nice place, because I like nice
Yes.
things too. But
Yes.
that's not something that maybe we would have had I would not have had that in my
Right.
business planning or
And
life
that's, yeah.
planning a couple of years ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
So what is bringing you joy in this season? So any new projects, offers, creative sparks, whatever that you're excited about?
Yeah, more in-person retreats. I realize the value of being with people. I love that. So as I just mentioned, I'm hoping to do something in New Zealand, or I'm planning to do something in New Zealand. I'm hoping to do some more here in Lunenburg. And I have been fearful to do that and put it out to the world. And I'm going to be, so my retail coaching is really great. And I love, and I get to travel. I get to speak on big stages and I get to do lots of cool things with that. But I'd love to build the other side, this lifestyle plan with women and help women. Women dreamers is what I love to say, like those who are meant for more. And I call it my Lighthouse Collective, and I'm growing that as well too. So I'm putting that out into the world a little bit more this summer, and it's giving me such joy to see these women. Like I work with a lot of, I don't know, artists and creatives and dreamers, people who they're not really sure, and now they're like coming out of their shells, and I love that so much. Yeah,
that's so awesome.
It is. It's really fun. Yeah,
that's so awesome. Okay, so what's one thing you would do way sooner if you were starting over?
Probably believe in myself more and believe it's possible for me. And I see, that's probably my number one answer is like believing in myself more. And I always feel like that's a cop-out answer because people are like, believe in yourself. But really, like, no, but why not you? Like, why not me? Right? Like, why not you? And why not? And just do it. And maybe play a little bit bigger. Like, play a little bit, like, stand a little taller, play a little bit bigger. That would be my answer.
Okay. What is your favorite way to unwind after a big lunch or a busy week?
Okay. This is always like embarrassing. So when somebody asked me that just the other day as well too, I actually really love, one of my lifestyle changes is I don't drink much. I used to have drink wine every night, and I don't believe into the
anymore either. Yeah.
Like I don't believe I'm kind of on this like, oh my gosh, I'm 57ish, but I love a cocktail, a really good cocktail. I have one of my clients from New Zealand makes incredible gin and has gifted me gin, and we've brought gin back, and I love a delicious gin martini. And I have a rooftop deck that overlooks the ocean, and so in summer I love that. Is like, and I don't have one until 4:00, but 4:00 Friday afternoon, my husband hears me kind of say like, you're having a martini. So I love that. So that is my way to celebrate. That's awesome. It's, maybe or a little glass of Prosecco. So I love that too. Bubbles.
Oh my gosh. Bubbles, I love that. So what would be so this is just a silly question, coffee order or comfort snack of choice?
So I'm a cappuccino girl. I love a really good cappuccino, and that when I go, that's my comfort, my joy. And I mentioned I used to have a coffee shop, so I'm also a coffee snob. So I love a really good cappuccino, and I love coffee shop life. Like if you can go and sit in a coffee shop for a little bit, just to people. I'm a people watcher too.
Yeah, we have people that we know who own a coffee shop in Bowmanville, which is the next town beside us. Yeah, it's a great place.
Good.
So where can people go to find you and find your offerings and stuff like that?
So frontporchlifestyle.com is where our lifestyle blog is going to it's growing. You get what you get. I always say done is better than perfect. So we're still over there. And for my retail coaching, I'm at wendybatten.com.
Okay.
And you can find me on Instagram. I have 2 accounts on Instagram, one for the retail business at wendybatten.biz and one for Front Porch Lifestyle, where I overshare. Everybody tells me I'm an overshare. I just share my life here at the cottage. I have my cottage living life here, and my travels is what I share over there as well too. So
that sounds awesome. So I will make sure I put that in the show notes so everyone can find that. But thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate that you wanted to have this chat and you were good with that. I love it.
Oh, what a privilege and a pleasure to be here. I am excited about your podcast, and thank you. I want to thank you I'm honored to be here. So thank you.
Thank you so much. That's it for today on The Shannon Atchison Show. If you found this helpful, follow the show and share it with a friend. And hey, if you're not sure what kind of business actually fits your life, take the free quiz at shannonatchison.com. It'll point you in the right direction. Thanks for listening. Talk again soon.